How's it going, coaches? Thomas here from MyCoach AI. And in this video today, I want to talk to you about the client side of MyCoach AI. A lot of these videos are a bit more focused on the coach's side, of course, and for good reason. But today I want to switch it up and actually take you back to the client side, what your clients are going to be seeing, and really just dive into a little bit more of how we designed the client side to be as intuitive as possible, to be super simple for clients to work with, and some important things that you need to understand when you manage your clients on here. We really put a lot of effort into the way that we designed the client interface and what they see and what they do. So I want you to understand that a little bit better. Before I really fully dive into that though, a little bit of context. Right now we are of course on the coach's side, and I'm going to be hopping over to the client side in a second here. And we're going to do that through the preview interface feature, which I want you to know that is something available on your end at any time as well. It's a built-in feature through which you can, for any client profile that you click on, hop over to the client side through clicking that button. It will open up a new tab, as you will see in a second here, and show you exactly what the client is seeing. It's a live preview, meaning that it is actually kind of as if you are logged in as that client specifically. Anything you do on that client side is therefore also really happening, right? If you check things off or make any changes, that is really going to be the case for that client profile. It's not just a static preview that is not actually the client account. It fully is. So I want you to know about that. Second note, it is of course on the desktop that we are reviewing this. Most of the time, clients will of course be on their phone in either the iOS app or the web app for Android users. And so the interface looks a little bit different, of course, slimmer and on a mobile view with the same options, but just a little bit of a different style of view. Now, for the ease of this video, so I can easily show you everything going on, and again, the focus is really on the design and kind of the considerations that we put into the client side, I'm going to just be showing you on the desktop version. So what I'm going to show you on the client side is not exactly what clients will usually see day to day because they are looking at it on their phone. But please feel free to go through that preview interface on your phone as well. Through the Coach's Side app, you can absolutely do so and see the mobile interface. And of course, what I highly recommend is go and invite yourself as a client. Go download the app on your phone and log in so you see the client side on that end as well. You can experience it from the client perspective. For now though, let's go into the client side on the web version, because really, again, I just want to talk about why we designed certain things on the client side in a certain way and explain a little bit so that you understand the basics of that. Let's go here to our client Christian. I'm going to click the preview interface and we'll get started. So it's going to open up this new tab here, load it up, and immediately what we can see is a form that was planned. That was not actually planned in this video, so let me quickly remove that. Not a problem. That was loaded into their schedule. So it's going to refresh right now. And what we are going to see is the client interface. So we can go ahead and dive in. Now, first things first, again, not the mobile view. The real difference between the mobile view and the web view here is just kind of the shape of it. So it's going to be in the length rather than just, in this broad view. These options that you see at the top for the schedule, nutrition, content, and so forth will more so be the menu bar in the bottom of their mobile view. But for the rest, it's really the exact same. There's no different types of functionalities. It is all the same things, just in a bit of a different outlook. And the first thing I want to note about the client side is that it is very, very customizable. Okay, pretty much all of these things that you are seeing, you can make disappear, or you can kind of change in appearance for many in some way. For example, if you don't work with nutrition on a certain client, right, you turn off the macros, or you've not assigned a meal plan, you've not assigned macros. Cool, sounds good. Track foods is not going to show up. The macros are not going to show up, not even this nutrition button, right? If you don't work with this client with content and you have nothing for them assigned, it's not even going to show up, and so forth. So very, very manipulatable, very customizable for any client specifically or for all clients generally in your system. That is completely up to you. So that's the first thing to note. Super customizable. This is just one way that it could kind of look like. The second thing I want to note is that we heavily work, and we purposefully designed it this way, with a checklist style view. So we directly see here what's going on for today. We see 2 progress recording items, so water intake and a front photo for recording progress as well. And these are to-do items that are essentially on their list to complete for that day. So on their home screen, that's what they're going to see. Here's what's happening today, and then any items that need to be completed too, in this case. Workouts will show up here, maybe videos that you schedule out or other items. These all show up in a checklist style view. And we see that reappearing again when we go to the upcoming schedule, which is the same thing there, right? The to-do style views, but now you can look into future days as well, right? As you can see, same style, workouts, nutrition, metrics, content, all of these are going to be shown in a list style view for the client to complete day by day. And we intentionally built it in this way. It's very easy for people to follow. It's very intuitive. It's like a little to-do list day to day that they need to stick to. And that is exactly how we want them to view it. That's why you see 2 uncompleted items. And of course, the only goals for your client are to just complete those for the day. So they go into something, right? They complete it. And after that, it's going to be checked off on their schedule and grayed out. Again, very intuitive, very convenient, and the clients intuitively know how to kind of go about your coaching, which is just complete your checklist for the day. And feel free to tell them that as well, right? Those are the most important parts that the clients are going to be working with. The homepage here with the checklist for the day, the upcoming schedule with checklist for upcoming days, and then there's a few other pieces. Some of these other pieces are, of course, depending on how you have things set up. But if you do work with nutrition on a client, then they have a central hub for their nutrition. And this too is very intentionally designed. What I mean by that is that whether you do macro tracking or meal plans, it's actually going to be in the same section and look very similar style. In this case, we have a meal plan attached, right? If you do not, it is going to look the exact same, but without these meals here showing up. So it's just going to be, the add food button and their macros they're tracking towards. If you do have a meal plan assigned, it looks like this with the meal showing up, but still the add food button and the macros they're tracking towards here. And that's exactly the intention. To make things very, very simple, whether you do macro tracking or meal plans, it looks very similar, just whether the meals show up or not. And that makes it very, very convenient. We don't separate very strictly, macro tracking style or meal plan style. No, it's all part of the same system, and that's the way it showed to your clients as well. So either they go check off these meals and complete things to fill out their circles, or these meals are not there at all, and instead they're going to add foods themselves. And when they do, of course, is when this list will start filling itself out, populating the items in here, and then, of course, going to count towards their macro tracking. So that's the nutrition side. Again, very simple. And of course, the way that we work with these circles and tracking towards their goals is all purposefully done because you're maybe used to it from different apps like MyFitnessPal or other solutions for nutrition. And that is the way people are generally used to it, especially working towards a goal like this in that filling out circle style. Content section 2, if you work with it, very conveniently laid out. Any content groups that are assigned are going to be in their content section, so you can access them at every time. They can even download videos if they're on mobile, and very, very convenient in this style as well to go through. Messages, of course, this looks a little bit different on the web-based version, but of course on their phone, it's just going to look like many other messaging apps where they have access to messages by typing, but also photo and video and even audio messages. Of course, unless you have removed those permissions, because you absolutely can. Pretty much all of these things that I'm showing you today are very much customizable, right? So if you don't want to send auto messages, no problem, you remove it. Same with photos and videos. You have full control over all of that. Even, last but not least, the metric section is something that if you want, you can just remove for them, but recommended, generally speaking, is that you keep that on. This is the place, the central housing for your clients to review their own progress. Can be incredibly motivating, can be very nice for clients to be able to take a look at, and pretty much anything that they are tracking over time, once enough data is populated, your client is going to have access to, just like you do on the coach's side. Right? They can even favorite certain stats so they can check in on them regularly. And this is their central hub to really check in on their own progress. Again, up to you if you leave this on, but generally speaking, we recommend it. Now, lastly, here we have their profile, right? So this is just some configurations for your client where they can take a look at their basic details, upload a profile picture. And this is also if you allow them to book calls where they can do that. And anything else that you allow them to manipulate about their own account will be done right in here. And going back to the homepage, there's one more important thing that I need to point out, which is this plus button here that allows the client to add food. So that is just like in the nutrition section, but instead you can do this from all over the system because this plus button just stays on their screen wherever they go, especially in the mobile app. Very convenient. So wherever they're browsing in the app, if they remember, oh, I need to log that food, no problem, you do it right here. And the second part, this too, very much optional, but we recommend you leave it on, is for the client to add their own activity. This is very, very cool. We have these checklist styles that we discussed, right? So per day and even for the upcoming days as well. But what you can allow your clients to do is add their own activities as well. They don't only have to stick to what's on these schedules. If they decide they want to do some extra activity, maybe go for a run or go play some sports, or maybe, they want to track their weight on a day that it wasn't actually asked for, or that front photo, right? Do that at a different moment. They can absolutely do so through the add activity button, right? This allows them to even create brand new activities. Let's say they play, I don't know, paddle, right? But it's not something you've added in. They can just create that new activity themselves and indicate that they have done that, which is very convenient for them and for you as a coach as well. And of course, then all things like metrics. If they want to go track their weight, they can do so through here and add that in as a metric, and it will add to your list, even if it was not originally on there. Very convenient. Last but not least, if you want to allow them to, they can even move things around on the schedule. If they see a certain workout that's scheduled for this Monday, but they decide, hey, I'm going to do that on Tuesday instead, you can allow them to move those things around. And of course, it works the same on mobile. So very intuitive. Now, those are just a couple highlights and a basic overview of the client side. But the most important thing that I want you to take away from this is that we make it very, very simple for them with these checklist style views and showing them only what's necessary. You can shrink down the client interface to the bare minimum stuff that's absolutely needed for your coaching and leave out anything that you don't want to be in there. That's completely fine. And of course, you have it very intuitively in tracking goals towards circles, completing them, and completing checklists by days coming up as well. That is the main focus here, the main takeaway, and how we designed the client side to be very simple to follow, very convenient for you, and very convenient for clients, of course. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of the client side and some of the design that we did. Again, feel free to go check in on this through the preview interfaces at any time for a client, or even by inviting yourself, downloading the app, inviting yourself as a client, and just seeing it in that extent can be extremely helpful. So go ahead and do that. Hopefully this gave you some info on the client side. And if you want to know more about the client or coach's side, the best way is to join MyCoach Ai and start testing around for yourself. So hope to see you soon on the inside. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.